All right, guys, time has come. Engine's going in. So we got the lift down, got everything ready, got the downpipe, got the dump tubes off just to be safe. I left the turbo on. We'll see how this goes. I want to be careful. My buddy Sean's here. Sean Guy, thank you, buddy, for helping me. And my neighbor Ben's coming down. Mostly, as you can see, everything's out. Probably don't need the catch can there, but as you can see, everything else is, that fuel line's not a big deal. We just got to get in those two holes there. I was going to put the transmission on, but with the transmission off, it makes it so much easier with the transmission off. I can literally drop it in. So I'm going to set up the camera, guys, do it like I did for Colton in my car in the past, and you guys can watch us install it like a bunch of idiots. So the engine is in, guys. Took us a skinny minute there, and I like having 2 extra people just to be safe, but the engine's in. Went ahead and started making catch can lines here too. Trying to find the best way. I figured a 30-degree fitting here to a straight, 2 straights and a 90. I had a straight fitting come off it, but it was too angled down. I feel like that angles up. This catch can sits higher than most others. If the catch can sat lower, I'd run it straight across. The engine's sitting slightly forward, so if I push it back, it'll sit at its normal level. I have a block of wood with a towel wrapped around it right now because there's no transmission on it. So when that time comes, I'll take care of that. But yeah, this is the engine in, guys. We just look at it. Like everything's coming together so nicely. I'm also going to be doing the lines for, well, I already did them. Power steering tank. This is why it's been so fun. I've seen comments, people are like, Ryan, how are you doing all this? The Ryan of the last year and a half did all this work, and the Ryan of the last week, I mean, it's not even been a week yet, and I did everything, got everything pretty much bolted in. There's not much left. What's on the table is it, like transmission, clutch, everything. There is nothing really left to get it done, because the last year and a half, I made sure everything was powder coated, ready to go. Like, there's no like, well, now I got to do this. Besides a few things I had to have the engine in, like intercooler piping, I'll have to do, but everything else it's ready to go. It's been freaking awesome. So just need to bolt this up or take this fitting off here. So I'm gonna have to put something under it so it doesn't drip everywhere, and screw on the power steering fitting. I also have to cut this line here, which is for, let's put it here so you guys can see it. This is for a vacuum setup. Again, I love doing these little vacuum setups. I think it's cool. Some people don't like this, and I know you can take this and rotate it 180 degrees. My problem is you have to technically round out the firewall some to get it to work. Not a fan of that, I'm sorry. I'd rather have this look uglier than do something to the physical chassis like that the firewall, that's a big no-no to me. So I was like, yeah, no, that's not happening. So didn't do it. I did this on my wife's and I liked it. Now I might change out this fitting. This is an actual Red Horse fitting. I might change this out for a Raceworks just because it's smaller, tighter together, and it has that full flow design. I think it just looks better. Down here, again, just have a 90 degree coming up. So if we look here, just has a 90 degree coming up to it there. And I'll just get the length, cut it. And again, the reason I like this too is if I want to position so it's back, the reason I always tilt my brake lines back and everything you see here is because I can get my arm under here. If I ran straight down, that impedes my arm. Now I have all this room to get down here and get my oil filter and stuff, like all this room down here. People wonder why I don't run a oil filter relocation. Would it help me some? Absolutely, but it's less lines, less mess. So I can do this. I always put a bucket underneath of it, or underneath the actual filter, so anything that drops, and I put towels inside the bucket so it doesn't splash. It's been working great for me. Or you can use the bag method. Make sure it's a good bag, or you have multiple bags just to make sure it doesn't leak through. But I've always loved that idea. And again, I'm gonna ramble on just so you guys can see. I want you guys to see the vacuum hoses. I was worried about these being too close over here, but that's gonna be perfect. Again, I can get my hand in there. If I need to, I can make it tighter, but more than enough room. It's an inline 6, it doesn't shake that much. And it's not, I hope it doesn't shake enough that it comes over and hits that, good Lord. We got other issues going on. Again, fitment's good here. I have to make sure this works here. I'm a little concerned. I know the one's good, but that one there has me a little bit concerned, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll see how that goes. It's funny, my head says the 4-inch downpipe should be bigger than that. Because if I come over here, I guess this one just looks different, but yeah, I guess that is it. Like that 4-inch downpipe just looks bigger, but that is a true 4-inch. It's funny that it doesn't look any bigger. Kind of cracks you up, but it used to be like 4 inches so big. Now I could realistically easily get a 5-inch downpipe, 4.5, 5-inch, which is way overkill, but would look cool. Yeah. Just need to get my water neck. Powerhouse Racing has already sent out all my parts, so I'll get the radiator in, the AN water neck upper and lower, a few other parts too for them, the radiator shroud too on top of it, and then we're getting the whole pulley kit, so you'll be able to see all that. But yeah, I'm rambling on because I'm so excited. So next up, again, let's start doing some of the other AM parts here and just show you that stuff. Watching that dude in blue. I haven't watched his videos in a while. But anyways, that is done. So 120 to a 90. Again, we'll bolt right up there. So it'll go right down there, which I need to also get this back on here. So your check valve, you want it facing out towards the booster, I believe. I think so. God, I probably have that wrong. I believe it's supposed to go out towards the booster. I'll double check it here, but these little Raceworks, look how tiny. Like most of the ones out there, these check valves are massive. This thing is tiny. It looks like factory. Makes me a lot happier. I finally found one of these. I took off the Racetronics one, and the one from Red Horse works fine again, but it's huge. You guys can see it there. It's way bigger, fatter, longer, everything. So this is way more compact. It fits in the areas a little bit nicer, gives you a little more flexibility because of how small it is. Like I said, it's pretty much like factory size, which is really nice. So that's done. Now what we're moving on to is my little Powerhouse Racing. I'm turning this off now. This is getting on my nerves. Powerhouse Racing heater core hose. Now, they do come with clamps. Let's get this out of the way here. They do come with clamps, but I like using these finisher clamps. These are pretty much to give the appearance of an AN hose without using AN fittings. Now, kind of cheating, right? But whatever. For these, you're going to want a 12 AN. You can get these from Raceworks. They're very, really nice. Again, they have the little worm clamp built into it. You literally just slide it over. As you can see here, just slides over and fits. So I thought 10 AN was right, but it's actually 12 AN is what you want to use for this. The only place I'm not going to use one is this one here, which goes in the back of the engine. It's just so tight. Putting the finisher size on it, and you can't see it, just didn't make any sense. From a functional standpoint, I'm going to stick with the regular worm clamp. But the two at the very back of the firewall, and then right down here is where I'm going to put one also. I had a NA waterline cut and then tilted up so it's more straight up, not close to the downpipe. I've had issues in the past, plus it looks cleaner that way. So yeah, it just looks better. I'm going to take these off to make this a little bit easier to install. One other thing I recommend, especially if you've had these plugged like this, put a bucket or something underneath it, hold something underneath here, because when you pull these off, fluid's going to come out. So if you don't want it all over your new engine and all that stuff, just have something up there to keep it from getting fluid everywhere. But yeah, let's get these AN lines off here and let's start installing those. Now I'm watching the Zuper channel, Ustani and Joel. I feel bad for you, bro. I'm glad it wasn't too terrible. It sucked, but I'm glad it wasn't worse and you could just replace the valve. So it's awesome to see up and running. Look how nice that car is. Both their cars are so damn clean. All right, back to this hog now. So I'm gonna use this, which had cotton candy in it because I'm fat and I like cotton candy, to hold underneath this when I pull these plugs off, just to make sure I don't get any fluid anywhere. And then I also recommend using some type of grease, some type of anything when you slide these on. The reason I like to have that is for future reference if you need to pull it off or anything like that. These get so sticky and hot over time that they kind of get themselves stuck on there and you have to cut them off unless you want to try and pull them off, but I don't want to damage the heater core, so I'd always rather cut the hose than I would do anything else. All right, so that's what it's going to look like. Again, It's not the perfect, you can see a little bit there. I could rotate a little bit more, but then it starts to hit here, which I don't like. You see back there. So you will see the Powerhouse Racing logo on that one. The other one you don't. Now you can see from over the years, this one's a little bit bent and stuff. I'm gonna try and smooth that out, try to round it out some. Again, someone else had this car before me and had worked on it, unfortunately. So it's not perfect there, but this still looks 10 times better. Now, this hose that goes there, obviously, is meant for the factory twin turbo setup. So for mine, it's gonna go on like this, but I don't need that 90 now. So now I need to slide it on here, okay? And then figure out the length. I need to cut it out. I'm gonna give myself extra slack, of course, but I need to figure out the length that needs to be cut out. Went ahead and cut off the 90 there at the bottom. And now from here, I need to see like the angle I want it to be at. Again, I wanted to give it a little bit extra to be safe. So I'm gonna mark it here as my marker. And then cut it. I push this the whole way into to make sure there's nothing there. Again, if it's a little bit past, even goes over that fat area, I'd be happy with that than not have enough. Because again, don't want to cut it too short. I can always remove more, I can't add more. So it needs, I can see where it needs trimmed. I need my other hand though. So I put the camera down, trim that, and I think we'll be good. Again, look at all this room now. I like that because before this shoots out this way. Again, it wasn't bad, but again, if I don't have to, I think hers is that way. Because I even had to trim it though. But you can see how it jets that way? Now hers isn't as bad still, but it was enough to be like, damn, that's kind of annoying. See if we get it to focus there. So I wanted to go straight up. I have the time to do it. I think this is just a better idea. So finally got the car back into air. Finally got the lift fixed too because it wasn't going the whole way up. I've got this super hood open, super max height, so I can get the whole way up. I'm 5'9", I can walk under it, but I think anyone taller than me, this isn't gonna work, but I can fully walk under this, which is nice. So I'm able to work a little bit easier now. Gives me that extra 3 to 4 inches of height. But putting in the bearing right now, this is for the T56 mag, so it's specific. I wanna go ahead and press this in. I use a block of wood to get it pressed in. And then use a hammer, and it'll bottom out. There's actually, I think I pushed it by hand, but you can see inside there, see the little lip in there? It'll bottom out in that lip, so nothing crazy. Just back up in there. Again, I hit it with a piece of wood. Boom, boom, boom. And it should go in pretty decently. You can see that Powerhouse Racing freeze plugs. These were drilled and tapped to flush out the block. Again, big shout out to Tom. He did a great job on this engine. So now that's in. Again, it just presses in. You can see it kind of lips under there too, bottoms out. And if you look inside, you'll be able to see where it just bottoms out. Very simple to get that on. But let's put the car back down and kind of get an overview. Other thing I want to show you guys, these pipes here are awesome. They're cool. They kick out this way. I'm not a huge fan of that just because it's going to blow all that gas and stuff onto my nice wheel and brakes. I don't want to do that, so I'm probably going to cut them and run it down through this hole here, have it come out, and I want it to be damn near close to the ground. I want it to be just a smidge above the subframe stuff because I don't want it blowing all that crap all over this. Now someone's gonna say, why aren't you recirc? Well, I'm a racer and I like that open gate. I genuinely do. I love the way an open gate sounds. I think they look cool too. So yeah, that's why I'm staying with that. The billet pan under here from Autobahn Motorsports too. Look how cool this thing is. Oh, love that. Fit on there is great. I mean, it's a tight fit too, you can see. Just barely fits in there, but it's nice, real nice. Again, it's cool being under here, how everything's literally new. Even use brand new bolts there. I don't know why the Toyota has this red or green coating on some things. I don't know if that's like a version of Loctite or whatever, but see, these are brand new fittings. They have like this green, like weird green on them and stuff. They're brand new, so I'm not sure what that is. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. Again, be able to access stuff too. Like I'll be able to get in here. I've eliminated so much stuff now, this is nice. So I digress. Let's get this thing back down. Now, next thing I'm doing, we talked about brake lines. Now I'm making my clutch line. I had a stainless steel clutch line years ago. Actually, when I had my W58, made a custom one. I got rid of it after I went away from the factory clutch master and changed a few things. So this time around, I'm making one off of it. Now, I really wish I had a banjo off of here so I didn't have to 90 out like I'm doing, but I didn't realize with these tilt and master cylinders, believe it or not, it is 3 AN to 3 AN. So it actually uses just like a brake fitting or just like a regular AN fitting. It bottoms out on that, and that's what gives you your seal. So inside of there is a 37-degree flare. So I can't use a banjo on that because the banjo needs washers. I guess I could figure something out for the thread type, but yeah, I don't know what to do at this time. Someone's probably going to comment, hey, you could have done this, Ryan. So, but I'm already going to make the line here. I just made the U shape. I'm using some coat hanger to help me out here to get a general idea, and then I'm bending from there. So just give me a general length idea, because trying to fish this down before cutting it and all that stuff, it's just way too much. And this is easy to bend, maneuver, so on and so forth. So I'm trying to get the lengths, and then once I get down there, I'll leave it long and then decide where it needs to be at to cut the length. I installed years ago, see if I can zoom in on this. Come on, Jimmy, get down in there. See that bolt right there sticking out? See if it'll focus on it. Come on. It won't. See that bolt sticking out right there? That is an aftermarket bolt I put in there that was extra long so I can put a hose clamp on it just so it holds it from rattling and stuff. It worked well, so it'll come down, go underneath the brake booster, go down there, snake the whole way down, and then, yeah, it'll just sit like that. Nice and tucked away this way instead of having a line that rubs. I've seen people run it through here, then come out through the wheel well. I don't like that because then it's exposed here. Something comes up, grabs it, that just scares me. So it's not as pretty running it this way, but I feel safer running it this way. Sometimes function over form, right? So yeah, I want to preface this also. The reason I'm doing a hard line, one, to help clean things up, but anytime you have something solid, especially when it comes to anything pressurized, even these braided lines, which have a high pressure rating, something solid is going to hold that pressure better. So we already have, I know what it's like having these clutches and stuff. They're never perfect, so they're always a little bit finicky. So getting the pressure spot on or making sure it keeps that consistent feel, this is going to help with that. It's not something that technically should go bad. So the line is something you shouldn't have to worry about, and I'm going to design it so it hooks directly up to the transmission. So here's your bleeder, and here's where it's going to hook up. So I'm going to design the line to come down and go directly into this. So the only thing we'll have is the tilting, so I won't have to worry about an external line being a variant in this, right? So it shouldn't be a problem. The only thing I have to worry about is the line or this tilt and master. I'm thinking about replacing this just because I should probably get a new one. I hate to put everything back in and it sees up. It wasn't a problem before. I want to preface with that. It wasn't an issue, but better safe than sorry kind of situation. So we'll see. Depends how quickly I want to get this done. As you guys can see, I've gotten this done really fast. I literally got the car exactly a week ago, and here's where I'm at already. Now I'm just doing little dumb stuff. The only thing I really have to wait for is the ECU was supposed to be here, but unfortunately Haltech got a little bit behind, so they're 1 week out from today. And then Jose Kaizan is finishing up the harness right now. Once I get that, I'll be able to turn this on. Unlike her car, which I had all apart, I didn't have to deal with it this time. I forgot, like, shit, all the cars together, like all the wiring's there, all the dash panels are in. Like, I didn't have to do all that finicky crap this time around, which is way more of a headache. And I'm leaving the fender's hood and stuff off because it's way easier to work on. I don't have to worry about, not that scratching this thing matters, but it's way easier to work on it. So yeah, let me finish up this line. I'm gonna get it roughly where I want it and then leave it till I get the transmission in so I can cut it exactly where I want it, and we'll go from there. But this is how it looks right now. Again, runs down there. You can see it runs right next to that bolt. If I can get it to focus, runs right by that bolt. And then I'm gonna bend it a little bit more so it fits better. All right, so this is where I end up for lengthwise. I think that's way longer than it need to be because it should sit like the line, so I can run it this way, or I can take this and 90 it around so it could go that way. Because actually with this bracket being here, I can use this as like a resting point almost, flip it around so it keeps it up, zip tie it here, something. I'll figure something out. But you see, runs right up against the body there. I just don't want it to rattle, so I am gonna put a cushion clamp up there just to keep it, and then this I'll do something too. But I had it in the past, it didn't rattle, so I think it should be okay because the same concept applies to my stainless steel brake lines. So yeah, again, this is probably way too long, but I'd rather leave it this long. Went ahead and installed the fitting too because I have a horrible habit of flaring it and going, shit, I forgot my fitting. So when I put it on there, put a piece of tape so it doesn't slide off. But yeah, I think that turned out pretty good. So on to the next thing. I mean, I would put the transmission in right now, but I'm waiting for my new clutch. This one will work, but they're going to send me, or I gotta send this back. They're gonna refresh it, send me a new one, so it'll hold a little bit more power, which is really nice of them. So I'm pretty pumped for that. So another thing I'm doing here is putting on my old adjustable end links. Now I cleaned them up, you can see how crusted they were before. Cleaning them up as best I can. They had like an anodized coating on them. The spherical bearings are still, I mean, like loose. It's amazing. I always hear about you can't use it on daily drivers, you can't use it in salt. Now, that being said, I've had these on the car since 2011. They probably have around 50, 60,000 miles on it, but there's no binding, there's no problems. They don't look the best, but I try cleaning them up. So what I'm gonna do is to try and make it look a little bit better is, this was the original hardware, worked just fine, but we're gonna replace it all with titanium. This is a 12 point that isn't from dress up bolts, everything else is. This is a 12 point that came from a company called Zoli Motorsports down in Australia. It is a locking 12 point titanium nut. So it actually has a thread inside there that allows it to lock. So it works like a lock washer like this, except the titanium version, because I was just afraid of those backing out, moving around so much. one of those areas that you usually wouldn't want to use titanium just because they're so slick. So this is the one area that I can use this because it's a locking titanium nut. So I thought it was pretty cool. And yeah, so I did make a little mistake here, guys. These are actually SAE threads. So unfortunately I had to reuse these for now. I could find something with titanium, but I wanted to make sure it's locking. So I'm going to get these anew because there's obviously, once you take them off, it loses their really locked in mechanism point. So yeah, I mean, again, everything else looks great. I have to remember too, this is underneath. I am trying to go fresh where I need to or have to. It's one area I did, so shoot me, why not? I just wanted to mock some of this stuff up too. Like I put this mount here just to have it. My parts from Phase 2 Motor Trend are going to be here tomorrow. That's going to be my upper and lower arms. I believe they're also sending, oh shoot, this pivot point here, can't think of it right now, sorry. Got very limited time to make these videos. So yeah, I'll have those, so the whole front end will be done. I'll be able to put the front brakes on, bleed the brakes, which I'll do in the next video. I hate bleeding brakes. I use this hand pump, and because the APG brakes are like standard race brakes, they're dual bleed. So yeah, instead of 4 bleed points, we got 8. Yippee. I'll show you guys how to do it. I've done in other videos, but might as well. Again, I want to thank some of my bigger sponsors again for everything they've done. Just kind of end out the video. ISC coilovers, thank you guys so much. Not only do you give coilovers for my car, they also gave it for my wife's car, which I'm very appreciative of. Raceworks, which again is going to be continued support for this entire year and hopefully for many years to come. The guys over there at Raceworks and TI Performance are tremendously helping me. Again, I am a small drop in the bucket compared to most of these big YouTubers, so it means a lot to me. Powerhouse Racing is also a huge support along with Freed Engineering. Those guys, you know, Freed has been around forever. That overflow tank is from Freed. They've helped me a ton with parts, and Billy and Ben are great people over there. Guys at Powerhouse Racing, obviously the turbo kit, the intercooler. A lot of the parts you see specifically for a Mark IV come from them. So for them to be on the team and them to be helping me out just means a lot. I digress. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. If there's any questions, concerns, ask me down below. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.